Davy, and I'm awesome! And welcome to Davy's Awesome Movies, where I review the styles of movies I love, the alternative, B-rated, cult-style flicks. This week we get back to the master of the B-rated cult flicks, Mr. Edward D. Wood Jr. This movie was made in 1957, but not released under its final title until 1959. And it was written, directed, and produced by Ed Wood, and also produced by J. Edward Reynolds. Made by Reynolds Pictures, Inc., and distributed by Valiant Pictures. Ladies and gentlemen, the most famous of all the Ed Wood movies, Plan 9 from Outer Space. The movie opens with the famous psychic Criswell had a show on a local channel in Los Angeles called Criswell Predicts, where he predicted the future. Poorly. Like when he predicted that Denver was going to get shocked by a ray from outer space that was going to make all metal the consistency of rubber. Or that the world was going to end in August of 1999. Spoilers, it didn't. And to this day, no footage of Criswell Predicts still exists, but apparently he used to end every show with this.
Future events such as these will affect you in the future.
To which I think all of us could definitely say,
duh!
But he's here to tell the audience about
Grave Robbers from Outer Space,
the original title of this movie. Then we cut to some people at a funeral.
Of the beloved wife of an elderly man.
This footage was originally shot to be in a movie that Ed Wood titled Ghoul of the Night, starring Bela Lugosi. Sadly though, Bela Lugosi passed away before that movie could be made, or even this movie could be made. So Ed Wood used this footage to put into this movie because most of the footage that he had shot for Ghoul of the Night was ruined. Not to mention Bela Lugosi in that movie, they only shot a few scenes. So Ed Wood was able to write this script around those few scenes, putting Bela Lugosi in this and billing this as Bela Lugosi's last movie. Even though they were really good friends towards the end of his life, I will say it's a little bit sad that Bela Lugosi, the legendary actor who was the first on-screen portrayal of Dracula, had to end his legacy like this. Then we go to a couple of pilots flying a plane.
15-4.
Very convincing plane, by the way.
You better radio in for landing instructions, Danny.
And if you forget how, just look at the script in your lap. Then a flash of light comes out of nowhere.
This American Flight 812 requesting...
and unveils the shadow of the boom mic. What caused that flash of light?
Burbank Tower.
Contrary to popular belief, those weren't actually paper plates, spray-painted silver. They were little plastic model kits. Spray-painted silver.
That's nothing from this world.
Sure. The saucer lands in a graveyard, and out comes... Vampira. The original Elvira. She sued over that. Vampira in this movie, though, is just casted as Vampire Girl, so we're going to go ahead and just call her Vampira, because why not? She also had to provide her own costume, which she admitted was a very ratty and holy costume, but she figured, hey, nobody's going to see this movie anyway. She was wrong. Then we go to Bela Lugosi's character, credited as the Ghoul Man.
The ever beautiful flowers she had planted.
Apparently, Vampira's character is supposed to be his wife that recently died. Good for you, Bella. But now Ghoul Man leaves his home.
Never to return again.
Apparently, a car accident happened. Very convincingly, too.
Why was his wife buried in the ground and he sealed in a crypt?
Bad writing. These two mourners see something. That looks so real! They call the police, and of course the police inspector, Clay, comes to investigate.
Have one of the boys take the guy and the girl back to town.
Police Inspector Clay is played by Swedish wrestler Tor Johnson, who did a few movies with Ed Wood. Other than this one, he also was in Bride of the Monster and Night of the Ghouls, as the same character. It is kind of sad, though, that the best person that Ed Wood could get to play this part was somebody whose English was very bad. We go to the home of one of the pilots, Jeff, played by Jeffrey Walcott, and his wife Paula, played by Mona McKinnon, who also played Miss Willis in another Ed Wood movie, Jailbait. Jeff is uneasy about everything he saw earlier, and he even tells his wife about seeing a flying saucer.
You mean the kind from up there?
No, the kind from down in the ocean, you idiot.
As soon as we landed, big army brass grabbed us and made us swear to secrecy about the whole thing.
Well, good job keeping it a secret. Then, while Inspector Clay is looking around the graveyard for clues, we see the Ghoul Man. To double as the Ghoul Man, since Bela Lugosi was dead, Ed Wood got his wife's chiropractor, Tom Mason, who was way taller than Bela Lugosi and bears literally no resemblance to him. But hey, he did this, which means you couldn't tell. In fact, it is now Bela Lugosi doing this review. Vampira and Ghoulman take out the inspector. Then, Lieutenant Harper, played by Duke Moore, who is in many other Ed Wood projects, like Night of the Ghouls and Final Curtain, he finds the body of Inspector Clay.
Suppose that saucer or whatever it was had something to do with this?
Nah.
One thing sure. Inspector Clay's dead.
Wow. Quite the detective. Now people all over the world are seeing saucers and everywhere. Los Angeles, Washington, D.C. So they call in the army.
The army convoy moved into the field.
And the army brings their stock footage. A Colonel Edwards is called in. And they attack! But it doesn't hurt them.
Quite a sight, wasn't it, sir?
A sight I'd rather not be seeing.
Are you talking about the movie now? The saucers head back to their space station. A giant nipple. Two of these aliens are reporting back to the Ruler, played by John Bunny Breckinridge, mostly known for his portrayal by Bill Murray in the movie Ed Wood. The two aliens are Tana, played by Joanna Lee, and Eros, played by Dudley Manlove. Great name. The Ruler is asking which plan they are going with to get Earth's attention, since all the previous plans have failed. The plan they are going with is Plan Number 9.
Ah, yes. Plan 9 deals with the resurrection of the dead.
Thus the title of this movie, Plan 9 from Outer Space. At least now it is.
It's too bad it must be handled this way.
It's also too bad your alien costume looks like something one of the knights would wear at medieval times. I love that place. They are told to report back in 2 days. Tana and Eros go back to talk about the dead that are resurrected.
Brought to a simulated life by our electrode guns.
And apparently the same people who designed their ship also designed the plane from the beginning. Back to pilot Jeff. He's about to leave, but he's worried about leaving his wife Paula alone with the flying saucers and the graveyard.
The saucers are up there, and the cemetery's out there. But I'll be locked up in there.
And sadly, I'm right here, watching a movie that is way out there, with a script that really should be in here. On the plane, of course, Jeff is worried about his wife being alone, when the flight attendant asks why did they buy a house right next to a graveyard. As convenient as that is, Jeff gives the reason that it's quiet out there.
Quite all right, like a tomb. I'm sorry, Jeff, that was a bad joke.
It's okay, so was this movie. And we see what can happen through the magic of editing. This can become this. So seamless. Paula runs out, so magically Bela Lugosi is back. Suddenly, it's daytime. Never mind, it's still night. We didn't notice that. The police inspector arises. Paula faints, but luckily, she gets rescued by a cowboy in a Cadillac. Sounds like a country song title. And look, it's daytime again. Vampira and the inspector make it to the saucer.
Turn off the electrodes quickly. They can't tell us from anyone else.
So she turns them off. Phew! That was dramatic. Then we go to the Pentagon and meet General Roberts, played by Lyle Talbot, who was also in a few Ed Wood movies, like Jailbait and Glen or Glenda. And he is meeting with Colonel Edwards.
Come in, Colonel Edwards. Close the door.
And while you're at it, hide the boom mic. The general tells the colonel that they have been finally able to translate the messages they've been getting from the saucers from a new computer called a language computer. That's just lazy writing.
We do not want to conquer your planet, only save it.
Basically, the message is Eros very longly telling the government that they've been trying to get their attention by constantly attacking them. Can't believe they didn't think you were friendly.
You are on the verge of destroying the entire universe.
Fair enough. The general tells the colonel to go find them in Hollywood,
See what in hell it is they want.
even though they just told you in the recordings. Back to the giant nipple.
As soon as you have enough of the dead recruits, march them on the capitals of the earth.
All of this just to tell Earth, we come in peace. Remember the last time we heard that?
I come in peace.
The colonel, Lieutenant Harper, and Officer Kelton go to question Jeff and Paula about what they've seen. Just then, their bullets do nothing to stop the Ghoul Man. He just keeps coming after them until... they look down at the body and... he only died a day ago.
What about your man?
Oh, the excitement, I forgot all about Kelton.
We all did.
He'll be all right in a few minutes.
Of course he will. He still has to go make Night of the Ghouls, so that movie, this movie, and Bride of the Monster can be called the Kelton Trilogy. They all go to the cemetery. When it's time to go find the saucer, the three men tell Paula to stay with Officer Kelton.
Now, you stay close to the officer, honey.
I'd feel safer with you.
I'd feel safer alone with a bobcat. Later, this is all it takes to take Officer Kelton down. He takes Paula, and the others have been lured to the saucer.
Look out!
They go in, and Eros is ready to have a conversation with them about why they've been doing all this to get their attention. It's because this world, Earth, has done nothing but create bigger and bigger bombs, starting with the firecracker all the way to the hydrogen bomb.
The only explosion left is the solarbanite.
That would kill some graboids.
But the juvenile minds which you possess will not comprehend its strength.
Who the hell are you calling juvenile?
Your stupid minds! Stupid! Stupid!
Now who's juvenile? Stupid.
Get back here, you jerk!
Let him finish.
Now who's stupid? Stupid! Bitch! Eros goes on that if they were to build this bomb, it would cause a chain reaction that would explode the sun itself.
And to all the planets that sunlight touches, to every planet in the universe.
You know, I'm pretty sure that our sun doesn't cover the entire universe, but I get your point. Whether it's the entire universe or a big part of the universe, it's still a lot of planets. A lot. Eros and Jeff fight! And because of this...
Get out of here, Jeff! The ship's on fire!
Jeff and the others get out of the ship. Tana and Eros stay inside. As far as the ghouls...
Look!
Yeah, okay. Whatever.
God help us in the future.
He did help us in the future. We got better movies. We even got better horrible movies than this. So there you have it. That's the cult classic, Plan 9 from Outer Space. This movie had a $60,000 budget and clearly did not make its money back. At least not until way later. See, this movie just kind of went into obscurity for a long time. It was released in Los Angeles in 1957 under the name Grave Robbers from Outer Space. 2 years later, Ed Wood retitled it Plan 9 from Outer Space and released it in Texas so as to kind of fool his backers into not knowing that he was redistributing the film because they might have come after him for some of that money. But by then, they had kind of given up on ever getting anything returned from their investment. And then kind of drifting off into obscurity, never being played in theaters, basically eventually around the 60s getting played here and there on really late night television. Just that kind of movie that would play randomly while you were up at night and had nothing to watch, and, well, they didn't want to play their good stuff. And this happened until 1980, when critic Michael Medved saw it and named it the worst film ever made. Very shortly after that, it gained instant cult success. Only problem I have with his criticism is, yes, it's bad. Very bad. Very badly put together. But it shows that you did not see any other of Ed Wood's movies. Because truth be told, this was probably his best. In fact, until his death in 1978, Ed Wood claimed that this movie was his pride and joy. Even though it was written in 2 weeks. I will say it is a little bit sad that in 1980 this movie got its cult success, which later got it redistributed, which has later gotten other Ed Wood movies redistributed, but literally didn't get his cult success until about 2 years after he had passed away from his heart attack brought on by alcoholism. Most of the cast, though, didn't even believe in this movie. For example, the woman who played Tana the alien, Joanna Lee, she disowned any involvement in this film when it started getting its cult success. As a matter of fact, it's a little funny. If you go look on her IMDb page, it shows that she's most known for Plan 9 from Outer Space, but it doesn't list that as one of her credits. Heck, even Vampira, who was in this movie, got $200 for it, insisted that her character be mute because she thought the dialogue in this movie was so frickin' ridiculous. Even the lead in this movie, Jeffrey Walcott, did not believe in this movie at all, and in later interviews had said that no, Ed Wood was not a forgotten or underrated genius. As a matter of fact, he said, whereas he had fun making this movie, that it really was just Ed Wood was a terrible director. It wasn't that he had low budget. He even said, quoting, if he had $10 million to make a movie, then he would have made a $10 million piece of crap. Basically said his directing style was lazy, and instead of paying attention to consistency and details, he was more just interested in getting the next project out. Which, I understand him being a low-budget filmmaker, that's kind of his thing, is get it out quickly, therefore it has a chance of making a profit. But Ed Wood also really believed that people didn't pay attention to little details. Oh, we paid attention. We noticed that it would seemingly go from night to day. We noticed the boom mics, and we definitely noticed that the script made no sense whatsoever. However, it is thanks to this movie that somebody had bought in the rights, redistributed, made himself a buck, to not only this movie, but several other Ed Wood movies. If it wasn't for this getting its cult success, we probably never would have found Glen or Glenda, which would have been a shame, or Night of the Ghouls, or Bride of the Monster. All of these wonderfully terrible movies would have faded into obscurity. Not to mention, this movie was kind of the spark that set the fire to the group of people like me who do enjoy sitting back and watching a god-awful movie. If it wasn't for movies like this, we probably wouldn't have cult success movies like Troll 2 or Monos, Hands of Fate. Those movies probably would have also faded into obscurity, unless one of them happened to be the one that sparked that revolution. But this one was the one that made a lot of people realize, hey, you know what? Watching a movie that's a train wreck can be really fun. And hey, we all know I certainly enjoy them. So on that note, the only way I would actually recommend this movie is that you guys check it out in the sense of, I just love movies that are so freaking bad that they're good. Because this is definitely one of those movies that is so freaking bad, it's good. So for that alone, thank you, Ed Wood. So there you have it. That's my movie review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications for when I post new videos, and leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of Plan 9 from Outer Space. Love you guys.